All right, now I'm going to give you a concept that I like to call listening to the market. And the truth is, it's a little bit hard to describe, but if I give you a great example of it, that's going to get the lesson home. So let me take you back to the spring of 2012. The banking sector is in a downward spiral. Okay, really bad looking charts, and so I am shorting the banks, of course, right? Because you want to go with the trend, and the banks were in horrible shape. But as the summer unfolded, the news just kept getting worse and worse. A series of major banking scandals erupted. We had Barclays Bank manipulating LIBOR. We had HSBC laundering drug money. We had the London whale incident at JP Morgan. Standard Chartered helping Iran to evade sanctions. I mean, it just kept getting worse and worse. You know, the banks were just committing every type of awful behavior that you could imagine. It's as if the only thing they weren't doing is showing up at your door and punching you right in the face, right? So the banks, so naturally I'm short the banks, and I got to tell you something. The banks would not go down. Now, this is all the bad news in the world that you could imagine, and the darn things wouldn't go down. What do you do? Well, I was short at the time. I'll tell you what I do. I got the heck out of that short. You see, when there were major scandals and they couldn't bring the banks down, you're going to see that happen in the future, not necessarily with banks, but with another sector at some point in time. Right? You're going to find yourself in a similar situation. When you see a similar situation to this, don't worry about the news, because there is something bigger going on behind the scenes that you and I are not aware of. So, if you see a stock, or for that matter, a commodity or a currency that repeatedly ignores bad news, just shakes it off, it's time to buy, or at least don't be short. Right? And if you see a stock or a commodity that cannot go up on good news, it's time to sell. And I'll tell you what happened to the banks next? The banks were on fire. They exploded to the upside. The market was telling you something ahead of time. And even if you weren't long when that market exploded to the upside, if you were listening to the market, at least you weren't short. You weren't caught on the wrong side of that trade. And that's what I call listening to the market.